In attendance, Danny Russell, but he's on the ice instead of in the stands, and he got it going for Michigan State as they lead it 4-2 through 40 minutes in this one. And Bryan, a lot more action to unpack after those 20 minutes. And it's good to be with you guys for the start of the second intermission report right here at the Com Arts and Sciences building here on the campus of Michigan State University. The Spartans lead the Fighting Irish 4-2. And Bryan, another period where we saw 3 goals. That just seems to be the trend that we're seeing overall in the series.
No, it absolutely is. And it's a steady dose of offense and scoring. For Notre Dame, it became harder to come by the defensive side. They only had 1 block in that second period. You know, I'm taken aback, reminded of a quote from head coach Adam Nightingale, Michigan State, last year, who said it's really hard to sweep in college hockey. Michigan State on the brink of that, 20 more to determine.
Yeah, Gavin O'Connell scoring for Michigan State right away, then Ian Murphy responding for the Fighting Irish. But then, as we mentioned in the open of this intermission report, Danny Russell, the birthday boy, propelling the Spartans to a 2-goal lead here. As you take a look at those stats through 2 periods, Michigan State outshooting the Irish 23-17. But Bryan, it's really a lot more like that. The Irish getting a lot of those shots in the 4 minutes that they had the extra man.
That's right, that's right. And on the flip side of that, it's a scenario where Notre Dame set out to play a clean second period, no penalties. They did just that. And I'm really excited and inspired by the way that they responded, still down 2, but did what they had to do to hang around.
And Bryan, it's another game where we see those block shots in favor of the Irish, just putting their body on the line and making sure this game doesn't get too far out of hand. But still, it's the Spartans controlling possession and having the most opportunities in this one.
That's right. And I like what you said about being able to control it, right, and having it in hand. That's kind of the sense that we've gotten the whole way. I think one of the things that I look at for Notre Dame and say, ooh, man, that's a trend that you want to break, is 9 of the 17 shots having come from both Biondi and then as well with Hunter Strand. That's 5 and 4 respectively. So if I'm Notre Dame, and if I'm in that locker room, I'm saying who else can be offensive output, who else can get a shot on Trey Augustine.
And Cole Knuble coming into this game for the Fighting Irish. He was second in the Big Ten in points, but he was made unavailable this weekend by the Fighting Irish. He serves on their top line for Notre Dame. So now the Irish trying to find people to step up. And you mentioned it, Bryan. It could be a big problem for Notre Dame as they finish out the final 20 in this one.
Yeah, it certainly has been a conversation so far, and it's worth mentioning. I mean, Notre Dame is doing a really good job, led by Danny Nelson, in the face-off circle. That's something that we had touched on at the outset of this one, is could Michigan State keep the numbers high with Mikey D'Angelo particularly, who was 12 for 15 in the circle yesterday. He's 6 of 9 coming alive, but winning that battle to this point is Danny Nelson. The Irish have found a way to keep it in their zone, but the shots have to come.
Yeah, and now let's flip the page over to Michigan State. We mentioned in the pregame that the Spartans have a lot of depth on this team, and we see another night where the Spartans get production from all 4 lines, all 4 of their goals coming from each of their lines in this one. Just a testament to how deep this team is.
It's pretty unique to consider that Michigan State can throw any line combination of centers and wingers out there and be comfortable with the fact that they will put the puck in the back of the net. And I just am inspired by the fact that they continue to do it night in and night out. I mean, we're in a threshold during the year where 10 games in, we wonder if we're going to see the production slow at all from any of these line groups. But so far, the combinations are staying steadfast, and it feels like equity of opportunity throughout the roster.
Yeah, and looking at this second period between both teams, let's go over to the third member of our team, Brad LaPlante. He's there at Munn Ice Arena. Brad, it's good to see you once again. What were your initial thoughts of that second period?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been back and forth. Notre Dame has definitely had a better game today. I think the goaltending got away from them last night, but they're definitely staying in the game. Michigan State still has the momentum, but Notre Dame, you saw in the second period, just had a lot of sustained pressure. Michigan State it was hard for them to combat that. And so I think that Michigan State did a great job rebounding, but Notre Dame's definitely still in this game, and Michigan State needs to figure out ways to not let them back in the game.
Brad, you got B-Rec here again. You just hit on something that's tremendously important, which is Michigan State cannot take the foot off the gas pedal. Can you tell me anything about the body language you've seen from the green and white? Are they staying engaged and active as we head into the third?
Yeah, I mean, for a little bit, it seems like they were caught flat-footed when Notre Dame had all of that pressure. And it was interesting, too, because Michigan State had 4 consecutive minutes of a man disadvantage. And that was, I thought that Notre Dame was going to at least not level it, but get back into the game. And so, yeah, it's the body language from Michigan State. They were caught flat-footed, but now I think that they definitely rematched that urgency that Notre Dame was showing. And so I think we still have a really competitive game.
And Brad, we're looking at this game right now. There's a lot of implications for both teams. We'll start, though, with Notre Dame because this means a lot. They're starting the conference season so far 1-4. A loss here tonight, down by 2 already through the first 2 periods, could put them at 1-5 in the conference. How big of a loss could it be for Notre Dame, and how big is this third period for them to try to get back into it?
I mean, it's huge because, well, first of all, Michigan State is the number 4 team in the country. So let's not pretend like this isn't a very big task for Notre Dame, who on paper should not be in the same class as Michigan State anyway. But I mean, in this league, anybody can beat anybody, and so you do have to show up to these types of games. Next weekend, Notre Dame is going to play Minnesota, and Minnesota is the number 3 team in the country. So that doesn't necessarily bode well for Notre Dame. And then Notre Dame has the unique opportunity of going to Northern Ireland in Belfast to play in the Friendship 4 with Merrimack, Harvard, and Boston University. And that is going to be interesting because Harvard just beat Quinnipiac, who was ranked number 15 in the country. So another top 20 team that Harvard, like I said, anybody really can beat anybody in college hockey. And so it just doesn't get any easier for the Fighting Irish.
Well, great analysis there, Brad, and I must say, I love your tie and suit combination here today. It just pops up the ice, and really good job dressing that up here tonight, and we'll hear more from you from the post game. So thank you so much, Brad, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
And Bryan, now I want to get into what do these teams need to do in the final 20 minutes of play. Michigan State up by 2, trying to keep that momentum going and stay undefeated in Big Ten play.
For Michigan State, you need to keep winning in the faceoff circle, without a doubt. We touched on it, and we talked about whether it would be the likes of Nelson for Notre Dame, who continues to win in that circle and extend possessions. But for Michigan State, if you can keep possession, if you can have a crisp passing system and limit the turnovers and potential for odd man rushes and numbers headed the other way for the Irish, then you're looking pretty good.
And what about for Notre Dame? They're down by 2. They're kind of in desperation mode right now to try to play catch up with Michigan State. And they call them a Fighting Irish for a reason. They've been fighting back into this game, just trying to claw their way back, but it can be difficult against the number 4 team in all the land.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, as we take a look here, we'll kind of see what's happening, at least for both of these squads, when they get the opportunity to put the puck in the net. I want to see, for Notre Dame, traffic in front of Augustine, and I want to see them continue to expand. We've talked about it a few different times, but can they go from half board to half board? Can Notre Dame mobilize each of the point men to get things on net and in front of Augustine? That'll be the biggest challenge, I think, as we continue on here.
Well, it was an entertaining first 40 minutes, and we'll see what the final 20 have in store. 3 points up for grabs here today, and we'll send it back over to Munn Ice Arena with Marin Klein and Yusuf Anaya. Third period coming up next between Notre Dame and Michigan State on Big Ten Plus.
Thanks so much, Jacob and Bryan. An exciting 20 more of